completely destroyed. On December 10th, 2021, a series of violent tornadoes produced catastrophic damage in multiple US states. The downtown area of Mayfield, Kentucky was in the direct path of a long-track tornado.
You could hear what sounded almost like machine gun fire hitting the windows, and right after that, just the whole building essentially just exploded around us.
We could feel the roof getting ripped off the building. Everybody's ears, were popping, and then seemingly all at once, every other window in the building kind of imploded at once.
Briefly, I was up off the ground, not touching the ground, and I know I grabbed a hold of a door frame that I was going past, and I was able to catch myself and pull myself in the hole.
Large parts of Mayfield had been devastated. Many residents and business owners lost everything.
To me, they need to take a bulldozer a mile that way with a blade 100 foot wide and clear everything out all the way 2 miles that way.
Against a backdrop of such destruction, there was a question over the future existence of the town.
The city of Mayfield will survive this. That's the type of people we are, and we will survive.
Months later, the cleaning up process continues. Some buildings look almost as they did in the immediate aftermath of the tornado. Power lines have been restored, but rubble continues to line plots. Kathy Stewart-Onan is the mayor of Mayfield.
It wasn't until the sun came up the next morning that I realized the horror of the devastation that had hit our city.
The immediate focus, Onan says, was on finding temporary accommodation for those that lost their homes. But attention is now turning to the rebuilding phase.
We want our town back, maybe not like it was before, because we look around and we see a clean slate to reinvent ourselves.
Restaurant first opened its doors in the 1950s. Like many downtown businesses, it was totally destroyed.
As you can see, it's gone. Everything pretty much blowed that way, and the front wall of this building, which is all rubble now, was over there.
Owners Wayne and Suzanne Flint had made the decision to cut back on insurance on the property after income dropped significantly during the COVID-19 pandemic.
You might have been making $1,000 a day, and when that started, now you're making $150 a day. You can't pay high price insurance if there's no money coming in. We'll get this mess cleaned up. Whether we get help, we don't get help, I really don't care. We're gonna put this restaurant back in here. I want to give Mayfield hope. You come out your door and you look at this devastation every day. Where do you find hope in that? But you see something going back up, people say, well, maybe we're not done here. Maybe we can survive this.
Just a few months later, workers begin the process of building the foundations to a new restaurant.
I've worried about it all I'm going to. I'm gonna build a restaurant, we're gonna get back in business. And it won't take us long, I promise you. But we just gotta get the concrete down so we can go.
In the meantime, Wayne and Suzanne opened a temporary restaurant from a trailer that had been donated. But they are concerned about the future.
just anxious and, you know, worried. I'm nervous. You know, so many people have left here, and hopefully I'll come back.
I'm just hoping and praying when we get this restaurant up and going again, people come here to eat.
In July, a new restaurant, now called The Barn, opened its doors. It's the first business to fully return from devastation to operation.
We got to have hope. We don't have no hope. This will give people hope.
A sheet of metal twists around a tree, overlooking a site where a candle factory once stood on the outskirts of town. Some 110 workers had been working here the night the tornado struck. It was completely flattened. 8 people were killed, but it could have been many more. Marco Sanchez left his home in Arizona some 15 years ago. A few years ago, while homeless, he stole a cell phone. He was caught and sentenced to prison. Marco was working in the factory the night the tornado struck.
I felt my ears ringing. Then I felt some kind of pressure. Seconds after that, it was a loud noise, like a train. When that took place, all I remember was looking up and looking. I seen people that were around me within reach. They go down, and I looked up, and when I looked up, I seen the whole building come down on me. And I was trapped in there, and it took me a little bit. I struggled to get out, but I was able to get out, to free myself. I made it up to the top, and as I'm sitting there for a moment, I realized I didn't know whether I was dead or not. There was no one around. It was quiet. It was dark. And I honestly thought it was the end of the world. I went back to look for someone else. I felt lonely, and I says, well, I thought, I'm gonna go back in there and see if I can find someone. As I'm going back down there, I find the first victim. It was a girl. She was screaming, asking for help. And half of her body, she was unable to get out. So I managed to get her out, free her from the rubble.
Sanchez had a broken leg and had fractured his ribs, but he continued to risk his life and rescue others.
I felt I needed, I was confirmed that there was people under there, so I went back in there. I felt some injuries, but didn't feel them that bad at the time, but in my mind was, I need to get more people out, and there was people. When I went back after taking the first one to safety, I went back to the rebel, and I happened to see the light of a phone, and there was 3 people there. There was 3 women within feet of each other.
In all, Sanchez rescued 4 people. At that point, first responders arrived. Sanchez showed them where he thought others were trapped. He was then taken to hospital.
While I was at the hospital, I was released from the hospital. There was a state trooper that I asked. I told him, I says, I'm an inmate. I was one of the ones working at the candle factory. I need to be taken back into custody. They were busy. He said, well, just do the right thing. We got a lot more things to do, and I believe that you will do the right thing.
Sanchez did the right thing and returned to prison, but it took months for his actions to be realized.
We kept hearing over and over about this one particular individual who happened to be an inmate on work release. Mr. Sanchez made the decision once he got out and realized that he was alive. One of the first things, decisions that he made was to go back in and try to free some of the other people that were trapped. He had a lot of decisions to make that night. He did the right thing, made a conscious decision to try to help others and disable, and he did.
Sanchez has since finished his sentence and was released from prison. His heroic acts have now been officially recognized by the Mayfield community. That media coverage then led to a reconnection between Sanchez and his family, whom he had not seen for 15 years.
I was overwhelmed with joy. I hadn't even seen him yet, and I started weeping. I started crying, and uncontrollably. It was a beautiful thing. That night, he was reborn again. He was given that chance for him to make different choices, and now he has a purpose.
Sanchez now has a place to stay in Mayfield and a job. A community member also donated a car to him.
It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of a new life, and for those that are going through losing their homes and stuff, I'm with them. I was given the tools to save a life that night. In order for me to be part of this community, whatever took place that night, it changed my life.
As Mayfield looks to rebuild, Marco's story is among those to offer the community belief.
Good things can come from horrible, sometimes, situations. And what an example Marco Sanchez is of that for all of us.
Surveys what is left of his businesses. He moved to Mayfield 20 years ago. Originally, he looked to pursue a career in soccer. When that didn't work out, he moved into the auto industry, opening a car detailing business, a used car dealership, and a mechanic shop. In December, he lost the lot.
It was something that first, you didn't want to believe it, because in my head I was like, no, this is not real, because we were here 3 hours ago and it was fine. It was all here. 15 years by the time we got here, start buying this, it's just gone like in 10 minutes.
Chili's passion is soccer. In October 2020, he opened the Soccer Factory, providing training programs and soccer facilities.
In about a year that this was open, we were training over 250 kids a week. And it was because the clubs around the area and the parents, they understood the idea of what we wanted to do. And it started growing and growing.
Chili's insurance company told him he would need to take out a policy for at least $580,000 to insure the Soccer Factory building. He asked if there was a way he could include his other businesses in an umbrella plan. Before that issue could be resolved, the tornado struck.
I was trying to find a quote for all my buildings together, and at that time we didn't have no insurance, and it was just all, it's like somebody threw a bomb and just everything exploded and just disappeared. You just don't know what to think, and then in my head you're like, well, I have no insurance.
Erin Thorne is a soccer coach in the area.
So losing the Soccer Factory, it was just devastating. It was absolutely devastating, and we all just felt so lost and so heartbroken over everything.
Heartbreak soon turned to optimism.
The soccer community came and we got together one day, and it was about 60, 70 people here just helping clean. We picking up sticks and picking up, everything that we could pretty much just clean and just make them think that we were on the road to try to rebuild.
A ball was found, a game was played.
The kids found a ball under the woods, stuff like that, and they brought it in here, and man, there was a game over here. It was a game on the gravel, and that's where they start playing. And and then you can see all the parents just keep working on picking up stuff, and we had some different people that brought food, and and you know, stuff for them, and I mean, we were here for like 4 or 5 hours.
That's what you do when you go to the soccer factory. You go and you play. And it was a very precious moment to watch that, to watch the kids bring it back. And it made us realize that Soccer Factory is more than just a building. It's more than just a facility. It's us. It's the community. It's these children. It's Coach Chili.
A GoFundMe account was created to rebuild Soccer Factory. It has now raised some $200,000 of the $300,000 target.
And you know, you feel that support, it gives you that hope where we can start again. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I feel like we are on the right track to get it rebuilt.
There are still challenges ahead. Chili is once again looking to open a small auto business in the area. He, like many here, still have belief in the town.
You know, there's nothing that can be fixed. You know, there's nothing that can be replaced. You know, like we can replace this building. I can replace the cars. I can, you know, go and build another shop, put another lift. I mean, I'll find a way to rebuild.
Mayfield is just beginning the process of rebuilding. The path ahead is long and uncertain, but from deep despair and devastation, there are signs of a brighter future.
Okay, we're closer than we were. And that's not to take away from what we lost. We lost lives that can never come back. And we will never forget those people and their families. But I do get excited thinking about what this city will be in 10 years from now. You come back and see us in 10 years and see how we're celebrating our rebirth and rebuilding.